member shoutouts, early access, connecting with me. Yeah, check that out. Okay, now let's get into it. I leave my phone here with the questions. Question number 1. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I cheated and took 2. So the first is my cheat, because this is a summer book. But I tried to gather some books that I haven't shown you yet, and I don't think I've shown this to you. This is Welcome to Glorious Duca. D-U-G-A. Duca. About a young woman who's a zoologist who moves to the fictional island of Duca to study the endangered endemic tortoise. I still don't know how to pronounce this word. The land turtle. Tortoise. Is it a tortoise? Tortoise. That seems too French. To study the endemic animals. This animal right here. And if you miss summer, this is perfect. Because the descriptions of the island are so vivid. You can almost feel the sea breeze on your skin, and you hear the thick green leaves rustling, and you can smell the clean, fresh air and feel the sand under your toes, and yeah. And this is really just a book about meeting people, meeting the islanders. A little bit of love, a little bit of drama between all of them, not just the main character, but still a very, very cozy read. So, perfect for fall, really cozy, except that it's summer themed. And this belongs down here. Now, my second book with a vivid setting is a fall book. This is probably the bazillionth time I've shown you this book. And you can tell that it's well loved by me because the font is rubbing off here the gold, and the corners are fixed with a Scotch tape. In this amazing book by Mark Lawrence called The Book That Wouldn't Burn. myself because this is a book that I would like to reread. And it's, the English title is Unbecoming. Unbecoming by Jenny Downham. And the German title, Obwohl es dir das Herz zerreißt, translates to Even though it breaks your heart. Or like despite breaking your heart. It's like an incomplete sentence. This is about Katie, her mother Caroline, and her grandmother Mary. And Mary has dementia and moves in with Katie and Caroline. And it's about all of their struggles and their lives and secrets that run deep in the family that Katie has to discover. I think Katie's a teenager. I think she's like 15. So, I don't remember much about this book. I have read it before, as you can tell by the spine. But I really want to reread it, and I remember it being really sad in places, but also really funny, and just very relatable in terms of the characters. Let's see how my opinions will change when I read this in the coming weeks. Let's continue. Third, fall is back to school season. Share a non-fiction book that taught you something new. I thought long and hard about this, but ultimately I decided to show you this one. This is Ace by Angela Jen. This is, to this day, the only book that I have ever tapped. I don't think you can see it, but I've put tabs in it. Yeah, maybe here. Not many, just a few. And I underline some sections. If you're questioning whether you might be ace or if asexuality is just a topic that interests you, I would definitely recommend this. I took many new things away from this. Even today, I read this a year ago. Even today, I sometimes reference this book, even when not talking about asexuality specifically, because this book also introduces concepts that were entirely new to me. Like, for example, this book advocates for different life structures other than marriage. So for straight and in some countries also queer couples, they can get married. But what about the people who don't want to get married? For if they're maybe aromantic, so they don't feel romantic attraction, and or for whatever reason. And this book talks a lot about queer platonic relationships and about like aging without being married to someone and what that means. For example, if you're not married, you don't have someone who is able to make medical decisions for you when you're not capable of doing it yourself, and like also finances and taxes and what that all means for people who don't want to get married, and that there needs to be a kind of alternative for people to share responsibility like married couples do, but not under the term marriage. And I do reference that today, like nowadays, when I talk with other people about this stuff, because this doesn't only relate to asexuality or a romanticism. This is just a very interesting topic for me in general. Like how our society is going to look in 50 years, or how our society is going to look when I'm old. And whether there will be alternatives to marriage. Yeah. And this also talks a lot about personal experiences with asexuality, aromanticism, relationships, and the struggles that can follow. Yes. 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family / household / friend group that you would like to be a part of. This was actually difficult for me, but I have made the perfect decision. I don't know if the cover is something you'll recognize. Maybe the author. This is Enid Blyton's The Famous Five in German. So, Julian and Dick, Anne and George, and Timmy the dog. I don't think he's called Timmy in English. I'm not sure about that. He's called Timmy in German. And in German, they're not called the Famous Five, they're called the Five Friends. And why I have this here is not actually book related, but just recently I discovered a series from the 70s or the 80s, I think, that my mom watched when she was a child. And I've been binging that, and it's the Famous Five series. And I would just love to be a part of the Famous Five. Though, I don't know if I would be George or Anne. Like, I look more like Anne, obviously. And I don't think I'm as wild as George. And, Anne was almost like the homemaker, and George was like running around with the boys. And I've never been that like running around with the boys person. I've always been a girly girl in the regards that all my friends were girls. Well, we did not play homemaker, so I think I'm a mixture of both of them, really. But also I would love to have a dog that's as smart and as loyal as Timmy. So I'd love to be in their friend group. Maybe I can be the middle ground between Anne and George. The next one is rather quick. 5. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. So, here we have them. It's not too many books. I'm just gonna go through them real quick. One of them is gonna come up later again. Here we have The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. All in all, pretty fall-colored, I would say. Lovely sapphic fantasy. If you have not read this yet, what are you doing? Then Iron Widow, also lovely fall colors, by Jiran J. Zhao. Brilliant fantasy, set in a sci-fi Chinese-inspired world. If you have not read this yet, I don't think you're on social media at all, actually, because this has been all over the internet. And then the last two are the Bender Wakes books by Jan Birdsall. They're originally in English, about 5 sisters and their single father and their dog, and just what they're up to in their day-to-day life. Yeah, share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I don't think that this is what the question I had in mind, or that the person who asked the question had in mind. But it's the first one I thought of, and it's a book where somebody's telling a story. Now, if you have not read this book, you are going to be very confused by my antics. If you have read it, you'll understand. This is The Reader by Bernhard Schlink, a German book. It has been translated, so there are translations. I read this in school in 10th grade, and this is like the protagonist is, I don't know what he's called. No, I don't know what he's called, but he's retelling the story of how he met a woman, and then it starts with him recounting his teenage years when he was 15. So when he was 15, he got sick, and this woman who happened to witness him getting sick on his way back from school, she brought him home, and he went back after getting healthy again to thank her, and they had an affair, and he was 15 and I think she was like 30, so very inappropriate. And that's the first half of the book. And the second half is that years later he's a law student, and he sees her again when he is not a witness, he's like public, when the public is allowed in courtrooms, he's part of the public, and he's watching he's watching what's happening in the court for his studies as a law student, and she is one of the people who are, I don't know if she's a witness originally or if she starts out as one of the accused, but she ends up as one of the accused. And this takes place after the Second World War, and her being accused has something to do with that. I think that's all I can say before I get demonetized. I was always an avid reader, but the books we read in school just and this was probably one of the only books I enjoyed because of the second half. The first half is just weird AF, but the second half is good. Or you can just read the next one, because 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. Now, if you know me, you know that I don't really read creepy, dark things like horror, or I don't read that, but I have read this. I showed this to you in my September wrap-up, and it's horror, it's sapphic, gothic horror, and it's brilliant. And this is also a book where somebody tells a story, and this is My Darling Dreadful Thing by Johanna van Veen. About a young woman who has a spirit companion / ghost that accompanies her, and she has whisked away to a rich widow's home to live there, and then somebody is, and they suspect that it's the main character, and she has to defend her innocence, and this is her recounting those events. Oh, some nice spine tapping. I wouldn't say it's like the darkest or the creepiest book you could find, but it's definitely darker and creepier than what I normally read. 180 pages. So maybe like 3 hours max. I have this kind of weird shadow on my face because I have an additional lamp over there. I hope you don't mind that. The next is fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Forgot the second half there for a minute. It's actually not an old favorite, but a new favorite that I would definitely love to return to. Look Where and Go. Also very fitting for the fall atmosphere. This was in my top 3 of last year's books. And I've made it my mission to reread the series this year. So this is about, I think it takes place in like present day London, but due to the circumstances, society is not as far as we are. Like they have, I think they have TVs, but it's not like not as digitalized as it is in real life. Because some years ago, ghosts have appeared and have taken over the world, the city, the UK. And Lock, Where and Go is an agency because only children can see ghosts. Only children can see them. And they have to fight them. It's a children's series, and I only read it last year because a friend recommended it, and oh my god. If there is a children's series that you haven't read that you want to read, make it this one. This is brilliant. I finished the last one in January. Actually, I really want to reread this. Would be funny if I ended the year with the same book that I ended it with last year. Okay, there's that. Let me put that here actually. And lastly, we have 10. Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading. For cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I only really have one, but that one is very important. Or two really. First of all, some ASMR to listen to, or like music, but mostly ASMR. And then some cozy socks. In the fall and winter, not a single page is getting read without cozy socks. Not in this household. Cozy socks are a must-have. And if any of my friends are watching this, if you don't know what to gift me for my birthday or whatever, my birthday just was like 2 weeks ago, but whatever. If you ever are looking for a gift, give me cozy socks and a book. I will love you forever. And now with that being said, I'm actually gonna change into my pajamas and my cozy socks. And I'm gonna read a bit. If you wanna know what my current read is, my Goodreads link is down below, and I always keep that updated.